about Tampa Bay, but boy, I'll tell you what, they've made some serious movement in those standings in the last handful of weeks.
Yeah.
They are on the road. They are going across country. You know what? I didn't see that game coming last week where they absolutely shut down Russell Wilson and manhandled the Seahawks, as you mentioned. And I don't know how they're doing it. I can tell you Mike Evans is the real deal.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Didn't Johnny Manziel throw to him in college?
Sure did.
Well, actually, Mike Evans made his career as a passer. All he had to do was throw it up, and there was obviously what we've seen from the SEC this year. There's nobody in college that was going to be able to cover that kid.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, the consensus pick in America is that 75% believe this game goes over the total of 48.5. I'm going to go along with Joey Peeps going over. I think that's going to happen. I think, though, you know what? San Diego, I don't see them beating Tampa Bay, and I don't know why, because you would think a team going across country is going to be out of gas by the fourth quarter. I'm still going Tampa Bay 31, San Diego 27. They went outright.
31-27, the Buccaneers. I won't know. No, there won't be any creamsicle tomorrow, but yeah, that actually should be a pretty good game. The 4 o'clock lineups are set pretty well. I stress it on the fantasy show all the time that nobody listened to this week. Thanks a lot, assholes. If you have the opportunity, play those 4 o'clock slots. You've got four 4 o'clock games, 4 o'clock only, 8 teams to choose from. This is your opportunity to break down and pick those superstars and win big money. I do it every week. Why do you think I can afford to just play on the radio all week long? I'm independently wealthy due to daily fantasy sports. You heard it here first. Next game. Good matchup, actually, at least this year and last year. Arizona Cardinals play host to the Washington Redskins. Arizona's hanging it up. They're done. They're a 2.5-point home favorite. In a game with a higher total, 48.5, I'm going to take this one. I think that Arizona, as much as I respect Bruce Arians as a head coach and as a human being, they're done. They're already looking down the pipeline, going to make a decision on what they're going to do with Carson Palmer. They cannot prepare to go forward with him next year, and that's it. I don't know that Larry's going to come back for one more. I think he has to, so he can't go out like this. Arizona's 4-6-1. I had such higher hopes for that team. I think Washington comes in and wins a little bit of a back-and-forth game. Look for David Johnson to still find his way into the end zone to do his things, but I think Washington wins this one late, 29-26. Maybe a Dustin Hopkins field goal to win it.
Yeah, I have absolutely zero faith in the Arizona Cardinals. And this is actually more so frustration in me because that was my stupid Super Bowl pick, if anybody remembers, before
but it wasn't
this
a bad
season started.
Pick. Don't beat yourself up.
You know what though? I'm not beating myself up. I will beat the Arizona Cardinals up for letting me down. What happened was Carson Palmer went back to being Carson Palmer, and that's what happened. I mean, really, though, nothing that was good with their team last year is transferred over to this year. What happened? I mean, the defense, I know they got some injuries, but the defense isn't the same. Obviously, Carson Palmer hasn't played as well. But anyway, to get to my point, I like the Washington Redskins to win this game 29-24. I just have, like I said, lack of faith in the Arizona Cardinals, and I agree with you, T. They're done, and I think they know they're done.
They're done. Pepper Jack, you got a difference of opinion?
I do. I agree with you, though. I think Arizona's done. Washington is another one of those teams that has really developed this year. Kirk Cousins is another one that, for some odd reason, throws for nearly 400 yards every game. Arizona, I don't know. They've got a pretty decent secondary. They do have some shutdown corners. I'm going to give this one to Arizona, though, because I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm not crazy about this pick, but I think Arizona wins 27-20. Well, let's go 27-23 Arizona. I think this is their last. This is it right here. They're on the cusp of being out of it all, so I think they've got to win. I think at home they will win.
Yeah, David Johnson's going to be that key factor in there, and for my fantasy sake, I hope he is week in and week out. We've only got a few minutes left, so real quick, 2 games that I don't know that anybody cares too much about. San Francisco 49ers at the Monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Bears.
Bums.
Yeah, just not an exciting game. San Francisco on the road is a 2-point favorite in Chicago. Over-under here, 43. I'm going to give you my pick real quick. I think that Chicago stinks. I think John Fox has got his hands full. He's got a situation with Matt Barkley Barkley played great in the fourth quarter last week, not so hot early on. They dropped a bunch of passes, really hurt his number, but watch out. San Francisco 49ers are a favorite on the road for a reason. They're going to beat Chicago outright. San Francisco's going to win another game, and they're going to win it tomorrow in Chicago, 24-17.
I don't know anybody who will watch this game. I have dubbed this game the Who Gives a Rat's Ass Bowl officially. Sure. I mean, I agree with you. I think for whatever reason or another, I think that is telling you the Niners are going to win this game. Chicago's got just beyond issues. Colin Kaepernick, I mean, just recognize real. I mean, we've said our share about him, and a lot of it is right, but he looked like he figured really something out last week. He played really well. A lot of stat. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Niners to win 27-21. I think this is one even they can get.
It is. I wouldn't suggest this as a Sunday swim play just because it's not, but we'll give you those before we get done. Pepper Jack, you got something here in this one?
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick over the last 4 or 5 weeks has been the number one quarterback in fantasy football. He does put up the numbers. I think he had over 100 yards rushing last week. I see the 1-10 Niners traveling to the 2-9 Bears, and I agree, nobody cares. Over under 43. I'm going to go 49ers 27. Bears 24. I think they do cover. I don't know why. I just think that Kaepernick might be the X factor.
Could be. Yeah, he's had nice numbers. He's almost worth picking up in some standard fantasy leagues out there. He could be worth a potential spot start on your 1 o'clock games for your daily fantasies. Let's move along as quick as we can here. This might be a pretty decent game, but I'm not totally convinced. The New York Giants at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Over-under here, 48.5. Pittsburgh is a 6-point favorite. I'm a little distraught as to why they've got Pittsburgh laying 6 points. I just don't know if that Steeler team is that good. They've got all the weapons. Everybody seems healthy. Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. Big Ben looks good. The line is starting to take shape again, but that's a lot of points to an 8-3 New York Giants team. The Giants have played a cupcake schedule, and I think that has a lot to do with it. They haven't really beat up on anybody good. They did beat Dallas. I'm going to take Pittsburgh and suggest that they might find a way to win this game. I don't know that they're going to cover. This is my push play of the week. Pittsburgh 20, the Giants 14.
You know something? I think that line is also set up for everybody. I think that line was made and set up for people to jump on the Giants, given those points. And I think that's telling you that Pittsburgh is going to beat them up.
You might be very right.
I think I've seen this line before. That's why I'm going to go with the Steelers to win 35-24. I think this is. I mean, there's a lot more. This is at home. It's in Heinz Field. There just seems to be a lot more on the line for Pittsburgh because they're really playing for their playoff lives at this point. Every game is like a playoff for them, and the Giants are sitting at 8-3. Maybe not so much of a sense of urgency and going on the road into a hostile environment in Heinz Field. Yeah, I think this is where you see I think Big Ben's going to have himself a great game. He'll get Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown involved. I like Pittsburgh in this one.
Tell him, Jack, that Giants secondary is nothing to sneeze at. That's a pretty good secondary.
No, I picked them up last week, their defense in fantasy football, and they registered 26 points against the lowly Cleveland Browns. That Landon Collins is a very good first-round pick for the Giants. I'm kind of with you guys. I think Giants might be looking ahead next week. I think they got the Cowboys on their schedule. They are 8-3. They need to keep it tight with them Cowboys. Pittsburgh at home. They're 7-2 their last 9 games straight up, so they're no slouch at home. But the Giants, on the other hand, are 5-0 straight up in its last 5 games. Close game here on the horizon. I think that you guys are accurate stating Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown are must-starts in fantasy football. I look for Odell Beckham to do something this week because I don't think Pittsburgh has that very good of a pass defense. So I'm
not at all.
I'm going to keep it close. I'm going to go 24-23 Pittsburgh. Squeaker over the Giants.
Pittsburgh winning straight up, but not covering. Won't be surprised if it's something in that ballpark. I look for a guy like Sterling Shepard as a daily fantasy sleeper. He didn't get a look last week against the Browns. Eli apologized to him, which I think is crazy, but I think it's a way that Eli leads, and they're going to look to get him involved at some point or another. Pittsburgh secondary is not good. That's not the Pittsburgh defense you're used to seeing. Dick LeBeau is long gone. Moving on, because we've only got a couple minutes left to stay on our precious schedule. The Sunday night game, I'm going to take this one first because this is another game, along with the Atlanta-Kansas City game. I feel strongly about this one. Carolina had a rough one in Oakland last week. They really only hung around that game due to the Carr injury in the third quarter. That injury turned Carolina's field position and possessions times 3. They were able to come back because of the injury. It really gave the ball back to them 3 straight times. Carolina got rolled. That's a heartbreaking loss. Prior to that, they had a heartbreaking loss with Luke Kuechly the week before. He's still not going to be back on the field. Seattle just got spanked in Tampa. There is nothing they need more than to go home for a little redemption. Seattle is going to whip Carolina's ass. Seattle also has to recommit themselves to running the football. I don't know if Thomas Rawls is very good, and I think that part of them may be kicking themselves. Christine Michael's not an A-plus running back either, but Thomas Rawls might not be the answer. Don't be surprised if what's his name, Pepperjack there, this Alex kid?
Collins?
Yes. He may or may not get a look. You know, I'm not in training camp with the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm certainly not at their weekly practices to know what's going on, but I get a feeling that they might be running out of steam with Thomas Rawls already, too. They just couldn't establish a run in Tampa last week. But look for them to go ahead and beat Carolina's ass 33-16.
I'm all over Seattle in this one, too. I actually think Seattle...
I'm sorry. Joe, excuse me real quick. The over-under in this game is 44, and Seattle's a 7-point favorite.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, I don't think that 7 points matters. I'm all over Seattle. I'm like a hobo on a hot dog in this one, man. Seattle, I think they've had this game like a hobo on a hot dog. Tell you what, like Seattle, I think they've had this game circled on their calendar for quite some time after that game, and I think from everything that I've seen building up to this game, they want a chance. They want to get at Cam Newton in the worst way, and I think they will. I think they'll beat him up. I think it's not even close. I think it's 30. I think the final score is 31-17, but I think maybe a garbage late touchdown for Carolina towards the end. I love the Seahawks in this game. I think it's a bad afternoon for Cam in the pants.
Yeah, I think so too. I like the overs there, but still won't play it. Pepperjack, what do you got? Then we got one more left.
Or bad night, I should say.
You know, I think that the Super Bowl hangover is for real. I know everyone's saying that this is Cam's karma. After going 15-1 last year during the regular season, they've really just fallen flat on their face. Ron Rivera is a very good coach. I don't know if he's lost control of that team. I have no idea what's going on there. 7 points is still a lot of points to give up, even though it's on the road. Seattle's a very, very good team at home. I think they're 5-0 their last straight up in their last 5 home games. They're going to win the game. It's going to be within that 7, though. I'm going to go Seattle 24, Carolina, well, I was going to say 17, but that won't make sense, will it? How about 24-20?
Yeah.
Seattle over Carolina.
That could be your late score. That could be something happening in a different way. Seattle's 5-0 straight up in its last 5 games at home. That's not a team that loses home games. That's a hostile place to play if there ever is one. So,
and don't think they're not a little pissed off coming home from that loss in that disappointing letdown in Tampa this week. They're not going to come home, play with a little bit of purpose here.
Oh yeah, that was embarrassing. That was an embarrassing loss. They were absolutely manhandled top to bottom. Yeah, no bueno for the Seattle Seahawks. So maybe they go home, they get a little home cooking, and they move along. This is another game here on our Monday night shot that I'm not crazy about at all. Again, these primetime games, they have a tendency to suck. At least there should be a good one on Thursday. Indianapolis Colts take on the New York Jets. The Colts on the road, and they are a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under here is exceptionally high for a Jets game. It's at 48.5. Are they going to play on like a 40-yard field?
This I don't know. Like JETS, just end the season for God's sakes. I mean, here we go. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just I'm kind of getting depressed talking about this, but I don't know. I'm not gonna. I know, man. I'm not picking the Jets. No way, no how. The Colts probably still have an out. Probably are still by default going to win the AFC South, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, somebody's got to win that division, right? So,
Tennessee.
yeah, you've been saying that, but I'm saying that the Colts are going to win this game. Don't ask me why. I don't want to talk about the Jets. I really don't. But 31-23 Colts. How about that?
Wowzers. Pepper Jack?
Pepper Jack's going to go with them Jets at home. They're going to keep that total way